just started
That's what the
stream.
people expect.
And
the people have no expectations with the show.
And it's another Friday Night Live starting right now, so you can't leave. Uh-huh.
That's just rude.
That's just rude. It's totally rude.
Rude.
All right, so did you guys see the Equifax got hacked article?
No.
Because they're all over the place. And apparently Equifax got hacked and lost an extreme amount of
the
information.
700 million thing. Yeah.
My favorite article so far is how Equifax execs sold their stock before the hack was revealed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just quality business right there. Love it.
Well,
allegedly, I should say. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't know. There's no way that, a company like that, obviously, they immediately, once they see a problem, they immediately announce it. And there's no time frame that they ever take to, cover their bases or anything.
Right. They would never do that.
That'd be ridiculous.
That would be totally ridiculous. But they did lose a lot of stuff. Chip, what's going on, man? They did lose a lot of stuff. So they lost credit cards. They lost. Hold on. Where's my window? Darn it! There it is. Okay, so they lost Social Security numbers, credit card information, last names, all of the stuff basically that you would need to create an identity or create an account somewhere. And
yeah.
And now let me ask you this. So they have it says here, if you want to see if you were affected, you can check on this page. Now, I checked, and it says that, yeah, I'm in the mix of people who are affected by it. But what I'm saying is, like, how secure is checking on a page like that?
Depends on who made it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Equifax are the ones that made it.
Well, they're not very secure now, are they?
They're not very secure.
You just gave the hackers more information on you.
Oh my gosh. All of my information's out there now. Well, you can go for credit monitoring and they'll sell it to you for $10.
I love it.
For each service, Equifax, what are the other two that are out there?
They're like, trust us, we've got your back. We'll totally monitor you to see if any issues happen, even though we can't monitor ourselves.
Right? And they're very serious about making this right now. They're very serious about it.
Oh, totally. They're like the BP execs. We're sorry. Sorry about the oil spill. The one thing I thought was interesting is they're saying the chief financial officer, as I mentioned, John Gamble, sold shares worth nearly $950,000 on August 1st. Now, when did they find out about this? On July 29th.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Will he see jail time? No, because we just don't ever prosecute anybody in corporate America.
Yeah, the other two are Experian and TransUnion are the other two credit things.
Right.
But Tanji, there was an update to an article. Tanji said that the help page exposes you further as well as gets you to sign an agreement to not join a class action lawsuit. But there is an update to that. I did read that in one article, and they did update that and say that that is not included. That's on a normal agreement that you go through with Equifax, but for this specific hack, it doesn't apply to that. So they did update that.
Well, I, for one, cannot wait to be part of the class action lawsuit and get my share of 55 cents of the total lawsuit money there.
Right. Brad, what's going on, man?
An exaggeration. I mean, 55 cents. I mean, come on. It's more like 22.
Yeah, you're right. There was a bunch of hyperbole I was dropping there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. At some point, I mean, okay, like, I get the fact that nothing's ever completely secure and everything, but how does this continue to happen all the time? Like, every couple months, just leave it at every couple months. Every couple months you have something like this How is it possible that we haven't secured everything by now?
As someone who spent his life in corporate America, I literally grew up in it. I can tell you what happened would go something like this. I'll role play it for you. IT goes to Equifax and says, hey, we're running out of funding. We really need more money to help secure these servers or get some more software, whatever. And management's like, we haven't had a breach in 6 years. In fact, we're going to cut your budget and lay off half of more IT. And then so they lay off half of IT, and then everything's going fine for a couple of months. They're like, this is great. We're saving money, and we have less IT. And then this breach happens, and now what will happen is a restructuring inside of Equifax in which they'll probably rename a bunch of organizations and also expand IT to only do this again 6 months later to cut all the budget. That's corporate America for you in a nutshell.
I mean, that's a very pessimistic approach to look at it, and also completely accurate.
Colin, what's going on?
Like, even the idea that you pointed out, like that they go up to them and say, "Hey, this is going to be a big problem," and they're like, "Oh, what is after your name? IT employee? Oh, it doesn't say investor. We don't care."
Exactly. Yep.
And the sad thing is, they're you can guarantee they knew it was a problem, but it didn't help our ROI. So we're not going to worry about it until it matters, until it's too late to do anything about it, because screw people.
But that CEO took care of himself, didn't he? He's like, before that announcement goes out, I need a day or two. Well, actually, he took like a month before they finally told us, right? Because it's July 29th. I need some time to get rid of some stock.
That's absolutely insider trading. So he could easily go to jail. He probably won't, but he easily could.
Yeah. Most normal people would go to jail, but not corporate America people.
You or me would go to jail, I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah, immediately. Heather, what's going on?
So the fact that you are the creator of the insider trading makes it okay somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can put a security freeze on your account. So I don't know how effective that is or what it actually affects as far as if you have I guess you would have to unfreeze it in order to apply for any credit cards after that.
It's very effective and something that a lot of people recommend, but it is also very painful to remove that freeze, meaning once that freeze is in place, nobody can check your credit, period. So then you kind of forget about it, because I've done this before, and you go into a car dealership and you're like, oh, I want to buy this car. And then they're like, we can't check your credit. Nobody can check your credit. And it takes, I think, like 30 days for the lock to come off, unless they've improved it since then.
The best part about the Equifax hack, in the sense when I say best, I mean most disturbing and scary. You're a part of their database whether you want to be or not.
Right.
That's a really good point.
So even if you've never done any business with them or even had anything that had any connection as a back end of them, you're still screwed. You're still in the database. Because they're one of the 3 big bureaus. So yeah, you have absolutely no choice whatsoever. And more than likely, you're pretty much probably everyone is a part of it.
All right.
I mean, especially they said like 700 million. That's double the amount of people in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many numbers out there being thrown around. It's ridiculous. So I don't know what the answer to it is. I would hope that this credit monitoring thing that they're talking about handing out. Now you have to sign up for it, and I didn't sign up for it, but you would have to sign up for it. But I would hope that they would be offering that for free because of this.
No, I bet you another one's going to do it, like TransUnion or something.
Yeah, well, Target did. Target did that when they got breached from their debit cards. They offered everybody a free year of credit monitoring when that took place. So I'm guessing they'll probably offer that.
Yeah, but Target also didn't have like
social security numbers and all of that.
Of it. They didn't, like the credit monitoring is like they're doing it as like, hey, we screwed up. We're going to try to help you and fix it. But they didn't control the credit scores, whereas Equifax actually does.
Yeah.
So like they're in a situation where they can screw up, but they're too big to fail.
Yeah.
So that they have like whatever they can do whatever they want and nothing's going to happen to them. Whereas Target can lose in the the court of society versus the court of law, And Equifax can be hated by everyone in the world, and it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. What's the recourse going to be?
Well, the other thing it said this article is talking about is the freeze is you have to not only freeze it with Equifax, but you have to freeze it with Experian
All
and
three.
TransUnion too,
Mhm.
separately.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
It's not hard to freeze it. You can go online and with any of them just sign up for it, but it is a pain to get it removed. At least in my experience, it was.
And also, I mean, to be fair, the Social Security system is flawed and broken and not secure in any way whatsoever. So it's just a multiple layer of just, crapshoot.
So it's great, is what you're saying.
Yeah. The Social Security system was never even designed for what it's being used for. So associating it to the credit system is taking something that's the credit system is not secure in any way whatsoever, and the Social Security system is not secure in any way whatsoever. Combine them two and make them dependent on each other. What?
Yeah.
Like that just the crappiest design ever. Like, hey, let's take something that's irrelevant and give it the most important thing associating to an individual you could possibly have, and then let's put some digital money on it, or not even money, just the idea of potentially being able to have money. Like, that is crazy.
So, Rocco, what steps are they suggesting in the articles to take? Go cancel all your credit cards, or is there any recommendations?
Well, what they don't tell you. Well, first they give you the disclaimer that we are not tax financial advisors, so take it with a grain of salt. But they don't tell you what to do. They just tell you the options, like how to deal with your information being stolen. Should you freeze your credit reports? The difference between security freeze and credit monitoring. So they don't really tell you, hey, do this. They just give you options and let you pick the ones you want. But the main thing is to keep an eye out on your accounts. So make sure there's nothing being opened or charged on anything that you're not doing.
Yeah.
So
there's listings of 700 million people, and there's also 143 million in other ones. So that's a giant chunk of we have no idea.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Alan, you having connection issues again? Alan?
See. I muted him just because they're unmuted him, but you can see as soon as we unmute him, there's that background noise going on. You guys hear it?
Oh yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
I noticed it, but I just ignored it. I'm just used to having some weird audio stuff.
Yeah, Alan, you got some fuzz in the background of your audio. Fidel, what's
Is
going
Rocco
on?
frozen on you guys' screen?
Nope, just you.
Nope.
Oh, lovely.
Just you. Brad says submit your tax return early. Hey, there it goes.
And there goes the sound because he disconnected.
It's back.
There
Yeah,
it
you
is.
got some fuzz in your sound, Alan.
Oh, do it. That might be the fan pointed right at the laptop. I should probably not do that.
Probably not do that.
Ah, that's better on the ears.
Yeah, that'd be great. Colin, what's going on, man? We're not hearing you, Colin. Oh, okay, already. All right.
He's like, yeah, everybody's
Yeah, I
having
know.
technical issues today.
The appear.in issue.
Well, you got nothing compared to what I've been going through this week, let me tell you.
Well, okay, so just to start out with this, and I'm going to probably announce it later too, so everybody can hear it. But next week, I think I'm going to try out doing the Friday Night Live with Zoom. And the benefit to that is that hopefully the internet connection will be better for everybody involved, and so the stream will be better. The downside to that is it's not as simple as just clicking on a link and opening a web page. You actually have to install Zoom. So for those who join or whatever, I'm going to try it and see how it works. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to ruin the openness of Friday Night Live where people can just click a link and join, but I want to at least try to better the stream quality and the internet connection for everybody. So, because it seems like when we get 6 or 8 people on here, the connection just goes really bad.
Starts degrading it. Yeah. I think that'll be cool.
So I'll mention that later so that we can all, so we all know what's going on. But
it's proprietary, so I'm not showing up. Protest.
You can just go to zoom.us and download it. It has a deb file.
Still proprietary, though.
Yeah, protest.
I'm going to be on the show protesting with the downloaded software.
You're going to be downloading it and protesting at the same time. Okay.
I already have it. Oh, we'll ignore that part.
Okay, just we're not going to hear that. So okay, so I hear about this in all the Telegram groups, and I really didn't follow it that much, but you know, obviously, okay, in the Destination Linux Telegram group, there was a few people that were getting into a heated Canonical argument, and
that never happened.
I mean, we won't mention anybody's name.
Who's covering their face over there? Who's that?
We won't mention anybody's name about it.
You're making up stuff. No one ever gets mad at you.
So Mark Shuttleworth was just interviewed on the BBC News. So I didn't hear all about. So what is the big problem? What is the big deal? That
Oh no. As far as the group stuff, that was irrelevant to what he was on talking about. Like at
so
no
it had
point
nothing
did they
to do
even
with
mention
that.
the interview.
So why are people whining about Canonical now? What is the BS reason that people don't like Canonical suddenly once again?
It's the same thing always.
Maybe they're colorblind and like the shades of orange and purple just really make them angry because they can't they're too close. I'd be angry.
Not enough of a contrast.
Yeah, it's all just one color to me.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I mean, I get
Okay, see, color contrast is a.
Stop it. I mean, I get the hate.
Let's go destroy the most popular distro that most of us use that convinced us to switch to Linux, and destroy our own community from within, and help everyone decide to stay at Windows 10. That's exactly what your arguments and trolling about Canonical and Ubuntu accomplish.
Yeah, pretty much that's it.
But the people that are arguing those points are the same people that I met when I first came to Linux that were totally not friendly. When I first came to Linux years ago, people were not friendly. I'm sorry. The Linux community, maybe on a whole was, but the people that I was specifically meeting were people that would argue like that and were totally not inviting. And it just seems to me that those people who are... Most of the time when you're talking about people who hate Canonical, it's people who have been in Linux for years and years and years and almost gotten sour to it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you don't find many new users that are sour towards Canonical. It's usually the guys that have been running Linux for years and years and years.
Rocco, I have to interrupt you. I told you that I was not going to join today if Ski was allowed in your chat room. He's making fun of us again about Rocket League.
Wait, what's he saying?
I told you I was going to leave if Ski was in here. I need you to moderate your channel.
Maybe they have trouble scoring in Rocket League. No, that's our trouble, Steve, not their trouble.
He follows me around and trolls. Ski, you provide so much humor, man. You crack me up. Still want you banned, but you crack me up.
So Tangy says, I have serious issues with Ubuntu and Mint, but they were reasonably good experiences that got me further into Linux. I don't badmouth them for that reason.
There you go. That's very reasonable. I mean, you know, deciding that you like something better is fine. And I think most people who use Linux for a while land on probably a different distribution. Not everybody, but some. And not going out and bad-mouthing. I just have this big issue with people going out there and destroying something that's probably made more people Linux fans than any other product out there. Any other distribution out there.
Absolutely guarantee it did.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you don't have to even make you don't have to just make a claim that it's possible. You can guarantee that it's the most widely used distro ever, and it created a situation where people could legitimately use Linux as a primary distro. Before Ubuntu, it was a joke. Like if you were in the community when I was before Ubuntu, it was painful. Like to the point where you just didn't want to do it. And every once in a while, I would talk to people, and they were like, "You should try Linux." I was like, "I have many times, and I like the idea of it, but it's so painful." And then Ubuntu comes out, and it's like, and I actually I scoffed at it for a year. And when it came out, and they were saying, "Oh, it's for human beings," I was like, "Whatever." and then a year later, I try it and go, okay, that's a legitimate slogan. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And then I kept it for, I don't know, pretty much forever because I'm back on it anyway. But base wise,
yeah.
But it's just kind of like Canonical is provided a platform that prior to its existence was painful.
I got a problem. I'm out of coffee.
I thought you were gonna say. You need
Oh, hey, Rocco, hold up your cup and I'll pour some into yours.
Here, go ahead.
Does it count that I have coffee?
Oh, let me get you some coffee too. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can, Joe. Well, Chip said in the chat that did anyone hear about Linux Mint 18.3 coming out around December?
No,
I
but
have
that's
no idea.
expected.
Yeah,
They're going to come out around that time frame, but they don't ever give an exact time.
Right, but it's always a month or two after Ubuntu.
And what
Even though they're not based on Ubuntu, they just always do that.
When is the Ubuntu release slated
Always
for?
October and April.
I knew that. I was just testing you.
Oh, okay. So it's always November or December, or always May or June. So like you can pretty much just pretty much guarantee every time.
yeah.
Why do they take so long to do so little? Who knows?
Why are you hating on them?
I mean, it's great that they updated their backup tool to remove features, and that's a big improvement somehow.
Colin, I'm sorry, but you're Mickey Mouse sounding again, brother. It's your connection.
You need to fix it.
See, that ain't right. That's funny, but it ain't right. Yeah, well, like I said, you find that it's the older, not the older people, the people that have been in Linux for a long period of time that are hating on that, and usually it's those people who run the really obscure operating systems. You know, like there'll be whatever it may be, a Gentoo user, or, and I won't say things like Fedora are obscure, but they're not the mainstream, I guess, is what I would say. And it's almost like that elitist attitude. You know what I mean? Like, I run Fedora, and you run stupid Ubuntu.
Yeah, there is that. You're not a real Linux user.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a developer. I use Ubuntu. Why is it? Because it's easy. Why is that a problem for me? Why does that make me a noob? Like, no.
You're such a noob, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what everybody would call you for sure, is a noob. That's what I love. I mean,
it happens every day.
That's crazy. It hurts your feelings.
Hello, Mickey Mouse.
Oh, no.
No, you're good there.
I'm good to go.
We heard you there, brother.
Yeah.
I don't understand what these settings are all about on here sometimes. Seriously.
Did you update your Pulse Audio? Because there was a new release today.
I don't know. I'm running Solus, but I had this problem last week as well. It's really strange. Sometimes I had the same settings as last week, and this week it wasn't working, so I don't know. Anyway, it's working now. I'm happy.
There you go.
There's I can tell you what it is. It's usually people, like every time I've had a conversation with anyone who hates Ubuntu, they never have a valid reason, ever. They never have an actual legitimate thing saying, Ubuntu has this problem or this problem. They always have, Ubuntu has this, insert hyperbole and nonsense. Insert this, I don't know what I'm talking about. And that's basically every single time.
Do you think it has anything to do with Canonical being looked at as the big company, the
They're the
Microsoft of Linux?
corporation behind
Yeah.
the Linux.
Well, yes and no. Because one, they are that. And two, Red Hat exists. And Red Hat existed longer. Maybe it's because they're the new company. The new company on the block.
Just some light hazing.
I'm running the daily build of Ubuntu now, actually. Looks good.
That's probably where the Mickey Mouse is coming from, Colin.
No, it's on another computer.
Oh, okay. So, how are you liking the beta so far?
I've only just installed it, so I really can't say, but looks nice. Anyway, does anybody know if there's a tweak for the dash in the decomp editor?
I didn't hear all of that.
What? There's a patch for this.
Is there a tweak for the dash in the decomp?
A tweak for the dash in the decomp editor.
In what context? Like, what are you trying to do with it?
I just wanted to know what I could play with.
I mean,
He wants to play with the settings, dude.
Still got the same approach of here's this what we're offering, use it or don't. So if you don't want that, you can just replace the dash with the dash to dock extension, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, just asking. Just wanted to know.
I'm saying like there's no reason to edit something that they've made because what
Because he
they're
wants
doing
to.
is-
I like to keep it vanilla because it works better, and if you put an extension on, it could break. Whereas the one that they've got installed, which is theirs, should not break. So if you can put it at the bottom, at the side, or whatever, then that's a better option, isn't it?
Except for the fact that you want to change what they have installed, because once you start changing what they have installed, especially in like the G settings, you're changing what they have actually like done QA and support for, so that it might not be valid anymore. So like if you do an update and then it breaks because of those changes, where's the benefit to that?
Fine.
I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. You can totally install the dash to dock extension that they're based on. Like that's available. So, give it a shot. Like, and there's no reason not to. It's just if you want to use the stuff that they put the time into, like make it work and test it and all this other stuff, but then you want to change all the stuff they tested, and it's like it kind of breaks the point, in my opinion.
I think it's break. I don't think it's changing the point, is it? If you're just because normally in the decomp they have the settings available, yes. So if the settings are available, then you should be able. It should be okay to change.
Well, if it's only accessible through decomp, then they have no intention of you changing it.
Okay.
I mean, for example, like Unity had the same thing. You could go in and change the decomp settings to make the launcher from the left to the bottom, but they didn't say, "Hey, here's a GUI to do that."
Yeah,
You
well,
just
when
can if you want to.
I use the decomp editor usually to change the close and minimize buttons. So I'll put the close on the left and minimize on the right and remove the maximize through decomp editor. I know they don't give you a GUI for that, but that's the way I like it, so that's why I do it.
Well, that's fine. But I mean, that's your problem.
Speechless.
See, the thing is, when I believe in what the Ubuntu is doing because it saves people changing things around. But when you like to run a Linux distro in certain ways, and I don't mind running Ubuntu, I think they've got good support in, but I like my desktop set up a certain way. So I just wonder why it's not offered somewhere, even if you have to tap into something else. I don't mind doing that, just to be able to make it the way I want it.
Well,
Instead of having to
You could have asked that question every week for the past 7 years.
Yep. I was going to say, Colin, I gave up asking that question because you just bang your head against the wall because there's no answer for that. Nothing's going to change about that. You just have to pick the best environment that works for you and allows you to do what you want with it.
I don't think that's a problem either. I don't think it's a big deal that they do that.
See,
No,
Michael
I'm
is
not-
the
I'm not
exact
saying it
reason
is.
why I banged my head against the wall and stopped asking that question.
Why?
Because that's the answers you get. If you go into a forum and you say, "Hey, why can't I do this?" You get the answer, "Why do you need to do that?
No, that's not at all what I'm saying.
Why do you want to do that? You don't need to
Not
do
at
that.
all
You
what
should
I'm
just
saying.
run it the way it is."
Not at all what I'm
So,
saying. If you don't want to run the way it is, then don't use it. You could. They have two different versions for the new Ubuntu. There's the vanilla version of GNOME, and then there's the Ubuntu version.
I'm more talking about like if you were talking to say XFCE developers and you said, in KDE I can do this. Can you add this feature? And, well, why do you want to do that? You don't need to do that. And not that that ever happened, but I'm just saying that's the kind of scenario it is.
Right, but in that situation, a feature request is different because it's a lot more difficult to do that in the sense of like, we taking what we created and our vision, that really is their modified compromise vision. Like, and then saying, we took things that we want to offer this particular thing. We even take an extension and then fork it so that we can remove things that we don't think are necessary for the approach of the user who is going to be switching. And we wanted to make like a simple light fork so that we, instead of adding features, we remove things that we think would be better suited for if someone wants the advanced options, they would just install the advanced version. And then wanting to like edit the light version instead of just using the advanced version just seems kind of like not futile, but like a hybrid approach that is unnecessary. Mainly not because you want to change anything. Like, absolutely feel free to change it. It's just, it seems kind of unnecessary because there already is the thing you could switch to.
Well, if that's the case, then that's fine. But that's not always an option to install.
It is in this version. It's not always optional.
Yeah, in
sure,
the new Ubuntu version, yeah, with the dock and everything, yeah, it is.
Yeah, literally everything is
There's
changed.
there's an advanced version, you're saying?
Well, if you want the advanced version, you would install Dash to Dock.
Yeah, Dash to Dock itself. You just
You're talking about the dock itself, okay.
Yep.
the dash of the Dash to Dock fork they made is just removing features from Dash to Dock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty
They
much.
can make it simpler to maintain and simpler to do QA and stuff on that. But then they also have an integration, like a collaboration with the Dash to Dock people, so that they're both compatible with each other. So you can install both at the same time. And when you install the advanced version, you take over where the older version and it disables the other one. So there is no like conflict between the two. It's just you use one or the other at a time.
Sure.
Yeah,
And the same thing with
it seems like it's going to be pretty seamless anyway. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Has
I haven't
anyone
tried
played
doing
with
that,
Aardvark?
Do it?
Played with Ubuntu Aardvark? Like it? The new GNOME?
I've played with it, but I haven't done that stuff. I just tested the defaults,
Yeah.
which are fun.
No, I haven't. But I tell you what I have tried, Alan.
What's the...
It's
Manjaro
Manjaro
KDE.
KDE. Oh yeah.
Hey, look, I'm telling you, I installed that and it worked like a charm. And I even did the free drivers and still installed without an issue, which has never happened to me in a Manjaro KDE release. So they definitely updated the installer for it.
Yeah.
And it looks beautiful. It makes me want to run KDE again, is what it does.
It definitely does.
Hey,
And you
speaking
should.
of Manjaro, Rocco,
Yeah.
is there any secrets about that?
There may be a secret or two about that.
That might
But-
be coming on Destination Linux?
They may be coming on Destination Linux soon.
Yeah.
Someday.
Well, guys might want to listen out for that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, are you telling me that the Manjaro developers are real people? They're not just
No.
a bunch of bots?
They're actually Borg from Star Trek.
I believe it.
But we won't just forget what Ryan just said. Don't worry about
Oh,
what he
did I?
just said.
Oh,
Look,
yeah. No,
Don't
don't
worry
even.
about
Don't worry about it.
No, nobody heard it.
Give it 3 weeks, Rob said. Okay, and that has always been the experience for me, that you install it and it runs great, and that's not just Manjaro. That's usually
Any rolling distribution.
release. So it's like you give it a couple weeks and something's going to break.
I have a.
That's silly because there's that people think that that like rolling releases are always going to break on you, and there's like no reason to worry about it, and like you're like it's not like Perl changes their path for a distro and all of a sudden everything breaks and you have to recompile everything. That doesn't ever happen like last week.
Michael,
You had me for a second there, Michael.
Yeah.
Michael, you remember that update error I was having issues with?
Are you talking about Perl?
No, when I was talking about, I was just running my normal updates in my Mint here, and I kept getting that.
Oh yeah.
Update from Canonical thing that was the precise, and you said, well, they're not even running precise. Well, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say, again, this is, I guess, how you learn things, but I kept digging. I stayed up until probably 3 in the morning screwing around with it, and all it was a stupid checkbox in the software services. It was checked to go out to that, look at that.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying.
Yeah, but I mean, I looked and I looked and I looked, and it's one of those things that it was right here in front of you, and didn't see it until I tripped over it. Yeah, it's a
repo issue of your system still looking for a repo that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it was. I know you said that, but it's like no matter how many times I looked right past it, and then I think I just finally got so tired that the next time I looked, I stumbled over it. It was just.
Oh yeah, I do that stuff all the time. It's something where you feel like it's like just catastrophic problem, and you go and like, oh, it's a little tiny nothing.
Unchecked the box and it fixed it. It's like, jeez.
I do that all the time where I'm writing code and I go into like if something's broken, it's like, what is this? Like it should work. There's no reason. I missed a semicolon, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like you broke everything because of a semicolon.
What you were talking about
being they usually don't tell you. There's no like the debug errors never give you information like, hey, this line has a missing semicolon. Like, nah, you'll figure it out.
Well, when you were talking, your favorite word I noticed on sometimes is painful. How painful things are, and I was starting to say, well, you want to do painful. My wife's laptop came with Windows 10 on it, and that has been one of those painful processes to go through, especially with they won't let you go past without signing up for a Microsoft account. They won't let you go past without getting your birth date in there. And it's like, I wanted to just throw up my mouth with it. It was just awful. It's like, but unfortunately, like I said, it's something she feels she has to have, I think, for familiarity. And if a program comes out she needs or whatever, but I think sooner or later I'll be able to twist her over to Linux. But.
Yeah, it's just more like, I think the best approach in those kind of situations is to say, hey, do you want to use Linux? And you're like, what about my software? It's like, as long as their software is not like extensive, like resource intensive and stuff. You
Most of the stuff she uses is online anyway, cloud based now. You know what I mean? Other than the only thing right now, even with this, is she still has Outlook 2003, so it's trying to get her contacts over into something that we're not going to be paying through the nose for, or that will work just as well for her. That's the only, and I can do that with Linux probably easier than this.
This is going to hurt me.
I know what you're going to say.
There's an application called Hiri.
Oh,
yes, it's a nice application actually.
Yeah, that's exclusively for Outlook support on Linux, and it's pretty good.
You got to pay for it though.
You got to pay for Outlook.
Yeah, I mean, I know, but I'm just saying you got to pay for it. It's a paid application, but it is very nice.
Hiri, it's called?
Hiri, Hiri, yeah.
Yep.
I think okay. I might have seen that somewhere.
I wish they actually developed it so that you could use other email services with it.
Oh no, it's Outlook, Office 365, stuff like that. It's exclusively Microsoft. It allows you to use Microsoft seamlessly on Linux, and Microsoft email seamlessly on Linux. So for people who are switching over, it's fantastic.
Right.
The reliance on Microsoft still is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
But if that takes that to switch them over, at some later date you can
Sure.
switch them off of that or look for the best option to do that with.
Yeah, I agree with the idea of gradual switching. I mean, it's important, but
most people don't cold turkey switch anyway. They usually do. Anybody that comes to Linux brand new usually does a gradual process of, trying to get programs installed in Wine that you're so used to and that kind of thing. So it's going to be that way.
I mean,
regardless.
some people still game in Linux.
I mean,
or
some
Windows.
people do, but because Battlefield 1 will not come to Linux. If Das Geek would get on the stick and talk to EA Games or who is that?
You want me to
Battlefield
throw my power behind that?
I want you to get Battlefield 1 on Linux, dude.
I'm gonna tweet them right now.
Yeah,
How dare you?
I don't know if Ryan, he knows about it because it was on. You may have seen it, but all your talk with Rocket League last week, I went and got it. I played it once so far.
Once?
Yeah.
How could you only play it once?
Well, I honestly, I won't go into all the details this week, but I've been distracted with all my family down in Florida, so I haven't been in the mood to jump back on.
That makes sense, but the better question as far as like why not want more than once, but how long was that one session?
I probably, when I say played it, I didn't go online. I was doing the tutorials and the test game and a couple of it. So I did it probably for half an hour to an hour, somewhere in that range. And it's like, well, I could see that this is going to be addictive and I'm going to need to spend a lot more time on it. So I just kind of backed off until I'm ready for it, but it is the coolest thing. And on this nice big widescreen curved monitor I got, it is fantastic.
Oh, don't be rubbing it in.
Yeah, man. Look,
I have
Maverick
to use a
in the chat
non-curved
is saying,
screen. And
what's that? Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I didn't know what you were saying.
I was just saying that I'm disappointed in myself now that I don't have a widescreen curved monitor, and I'm just missing out on the amazing Rocket League experience.
Yeah. It's fun and it's crisp and it's clear and it's very. I can see it also being a very stressful game too.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
Maverick
never
in chat
bothered
is
by
saying,
any situation. I mean, it never, makes me frustrated at all. It's always a great chill game. There is never a time where I just.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
well, when you get to Rocco and I's level, it tends to be a little less stressful because it's hard to find any competition that would stress you out, right, Rocco?
Right. I'm telling you, there's just
we
nobody
killed
that
it
compares.
tonight.
We did.
If you guys go watch the back stream, we literally dominated from the start of the stream till the very end.
Well, look, we were going to end. We were dominating so much that we were going to end at at 8:45, but we said we would go out on a winning streak, and it took us till 9:50 to get a win.
Well, that obviously wasn't the one I watched because you lost to nothing. The one I was watching.
Joe.
Well, you were watching. Were you watching Michael's stream on accident or something?
You must have been watching the wrong channel.
Yeah, wrong.
How dare you? How dare you?
Now, if we can only
No
get
one's watching
Alan,
my stream. Thank you.
if we can only get Alan to buy Rocket League, it would be great. Alan?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's better than ONG.
I think when
Rocco's
It can be. It
really
can be.
sponsor you as many people as you've converted to the Rocket League family.
Yeah.
It's
you got to learn it because I think you even said it, Ryan, was that learning the different controls. Once you learn those, I think it'll be fine because it's like I was trying to figure out how to jump and oh my god, the stuff I was doing was just.
I like how I came on this stream about a couple months ago, and now it's just avalanching into the Rocket League is taking over.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's gradual, but it's happening.
It's like Linux.
I didn't get
it's
any,
gradually taking over.
Gradually taking over.
I didn't get any Rocket League in there, but I learned how to drive manual today, so I'd say that's a win.
Yeah, there's a start.
Yeah. It's like real life Rocket League now.
Did you do one of these?
I stalled so many times, it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Once you learn, it'll become second nature. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's right.
The first time I ever drove a manual, I stalled it every time. Yeah.
It's really strange. I started with an automatic, and I kind of wish I had started with a manual now.
The problem is that it's kind of dangerous to start with with a manual, depending on who's teaching you, because because so many people don't really know how to drive a manual. So when they teach you, they might not do it very well. And then if you've only ever experienced a manual and you get into like bumper to bumper traffic, that's gonna be awful. Like,
That is true.
That. Like you will hate it anyway. Just being in bumper to bumper traffic with manual, you'll hate it regardless. But like not being properly trained for it, you're gonna,
I can't even pull up to the stop sign comfortably.
Yeah. My dad was a tow driver for the city of Chicago, and I worked for the city of Chicago, and I came on their snow detail crews and stuff, so I had a bit of an edge. I actually got myself and my father's boss at the time, he took his son out with me for some personalized training on a large tow truck and hooking up cars and all that. So, and even now till this day, until I got the truck I have now, I always backed into the stalls, and I could back in straighter than most people driving. But it's once you get used to it and using the mirrors, it's really a piece of cake. But I agree with them, because in Chicago, everything's bumper to bumper rush hour traffic, and let the clutch out, put the clutch in, let the clutch out. You'll have the biggest calf on their left leg.
Well, I drove tractor trailer and through Philadelphia and New Jersey, and going down the Schuylkill expressways in the morning and coming home was the exact same way, constant, over and over again.
You could attest to this then, Rocco. If once you did get going and you learn how to drive it really well, you don't even need the clutch.
No, you don't. You may want to use it to start out, so you don't.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Get you going, and then boom, you just time shift it. Yeah,
I'm not very good at driving a manual still, but I can drive, which is weird because I'm not very good at driving a manual car, but I'm fantastic at a manual motorcycle. And I have no idea how to explain that. It's switching gears with my feet feels more natural than with my hand.
I'm like that on ATVs as well. I can do that. For some reason, and then using the blinker, I don't have enough hands. I'll have to stick my head out the window to signal which way I'm going.
Have the dog in the back window point this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking of driving, let's steer this conversation back to Linux. How's that?
Yeah.
So, speaking of driving and Linux, there was a report that Toyota and Mazda have teamed up to create a partnership for using Linux inside of their cars and infotainment centers.
Really?
Infotainment centers.
Nice.
And who's this? Toyota and who?
Pretty sure Mazda.
Yeah, it was Mazda.
Yeah.
Zoom.
So that's actually relevant on both parts. So that's a good segue. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm looking at Ubuntu, OMG Ubuntu, and it's talking about this extension for your phone, M Connect.
Oh yeah.
Is that like KDE Connect? Is that what that's for?
Oh, you mean literally KDE Connect? Yes.
Yes.
I mean, what is that? A fork of KDE Connect? What are we doing?
No, it uses KDE Connect in the back end.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just like a little.
So it literally is KDE Connect. It's M Connect is a GNOME shell extension for KDE Connect. So that you have
quite a few nice things.
Well, KDE Connect is not designed to be specifically for GNOME shell, so it's designed to use app indicators. So because GNOME shell is killing app indicators, that kind of makes it a problem for GNOME users. So mConnect solves that problem. Although they are talking about making their own backend, it's just right now they don't have a backend yet. So eventually they will have one. It's just right now they're using KDE Connect.
That's exciting.
Okay. KDE Connect is awesome, so that's okay to use the backend for that.
Mm-hmm. KDE Connect is fantastic.
And I see, Rocco, they're bringing out looks like somebody's working on some KDE settings system settings that
They're
going to be redesigning. Yeah, it looks really good.
Where is that? Where's the link for that? For crying out loud.
I think they have it on OMG Ubuntu as well.
It's on OMG Ubuntu as well, yeah. Homepage. Right next to
Should
the
be in-
Connect.
Oh yeah, look at that. Well, it's about time they do this. I've been saying for years that the KDE system settings look terrible and are formatted ridiculous with so much white space. I mean, you know what I mean? You could write a freaking college paper on the white space that they have for the settings, for crying out loud.
Whoa.
Did I say that out loud? Did that come out?
That's a little harsh. That's a little harsh. Not unfounded, but a little harsh.
I'm just saying, dude. This is what. Look, if you're looking at the screenshot, and everybody's got to go to this link and look at this. I got to post this link. You gotta see this, because this is the way it should have looked all this time.
Well,
Did you guys imagine that Rocco asked me to create a banner and what I'm going to have to go through for the next month? Like, the dude who is the most critical of everything wants me to do the banner.
Look.
You have some text that's like about 4 pixels off.
Right.
That's about it.
That may be accurate.
I think that's the exact verbiage he used right before we started. 4 pixels to the left.
Look, I may not have any talent for.
I can't make it, but
creating,
I can tell it. You can't.
Exactly. I can't. I have no artistic talent whatsoever in me at all. But I can say what's wrong and what doesn't look good. So.
Rocco's bettering
Pray
people's
for me,
talent.
everyone.
That's what he's doing. You're bettering people's talent.
That's it. I'm just
That's
trying to
right.
help you get better.
Right.
People's standards.
He is the designer's muse.
I'm just telling you. But that looks absolutely beautiful, man. That's what Katie should have looked at. Oh my gosh, that looks beautiful.
So here's why this is happening.
Tell me.
Rocco.
Rocco is why? Is that what you're saying?
Rocco won't stay off their forums.
Well, that's possible. VDG is making everything look good.
What is?
Okay. The visual design group of KDE is making everything look good and revamping everything that doesn't have, like everything that has an old KDE 4 style or look is being revamped by the VDG. But it's also because they created the framework of Kirigami, and the Kirigami framework is a framework that allows desktop applications to also work with mobile platforms, even including Android, so that you can have a design that is responsive and can adjust. So if you look at that photo that is displayed on the blog post, you can see it's like a square box. If you were to increase the size, the interface itself would also change a little to compensate for the size you're changing. So that's actually one of the great things that Kirigami is providing. And some of the apps are using Kirigami properly and some are not. So it's the VDG that are working on making it as good as possible, and that's why it's taking so long, because the VDGs only started existing like 2 or 3 years ago.
I was going to say, where have they been all this time?
Yeah. It's
Well,
they created it by talking to the community and be like, hey, you if you're a designer, join the VDG and you can help design KDE. Because before that, all the design work was done by developers and they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Well, if I get it right, Rocco should be on the VDG QC, I think.
Well, it does require you to know how to do things.
Yeah, I don't know how. I can just tell you that's wrong. No, that doesn't look good.
That's quality control. That's quality control.
I found one of your relatives in the comments section of that article there, Rocco.
Well,
He says, "Okay, KDE, now you have my attention."
Well, I mean,
so what is the? I don't know if I didn't look in here. When can we expect something like this to happen? Is it going to be a long time or what?
It's hard to say. I don't think they're getting 5.11. It'll probably be in 5.12. 5.11 is only out in a month. So it might this might be a preview of it coming, but I haven't seen any like confirmation about when it's actually coming. So it could be just like a preview for 5.12, or it could even be in 5.11. I'm not totally sure. But a lot of the time when you see these designs from the VDG, it's mock-ups and not code. So like the Discover mock-up that was released to replace the current design is fantastic, but it's just mock-ups. So we don't really know when it's going to be. However, I would hope that they're going to do it in 5.11. I don't have confirmation. I will eventually be able to tell you the answer for that one, because I am sort of helping with KDE to a point now. So I do get some insider information. And most of the information is not like, it is technically public. You can see things. You just have to know how to see things. So it's not like I'm sharing secret sauce or anything. But right now I can't share it because I don't know. But there are a lot of cool things coming, and in 5.11 it's going to have some really good stuff.
Well, that was my next question. What's in 5.11? What's coming up?
I can't tell you everything because I don't remember everything I read. But what is one of the things that made me super excited, and this was not necessarily like this was shown in the bug like. I already knew before I found out from this, but it's in the bug history of a specific bug report that's been around for a couple years, because Plasma 5 has a problem with notifications, and it displays them perfectly fine. It works with the libnotify and all that other stuff. But one of the things that had bothered me is because KDE 4 had a full history of every notification you ever got. So you could go in and say, here, clear all history, but in something super important, it'll have the whole list of it for you.
Right.
But the only thing that was problem with that is that it didn't have like a category structure or anything. It wasn't like organized. It was just kind of everything all at once, which is good somewhat and also not. But Plasma 5 was introduced, and in order to make the Plasma shell work, they had to remove that feature, so the history was gone completely. And it's always been something that's bothering me. Like every time I get a notification, it's like, oh, I got to look at it because otherwise, if I don't, it's going to be gone and it'd be forever. Anyway, 5.11 is getting a fix with the history. It'll have full history for the notifications, and there's somewhat talk about having category structure. So it's not really category, but like app specific notifications. So you could say, here's like you have 50 notifications that you missed. Well, I don't care about all of them except for this one app. I want to see this one app, and the rest you can just delete. There's talk about it supposedly having that ability to just see one particular app's notifications. If that happens, that'll be amazing. But even the history by itself is something I've been wanting for a very long time.
So, say if Ryan was looking for the latest Justin Bieber music and he had an app to do that, it would.
Why do you have to
you can
bring that
Spotify
up?
all the Bieber you want, for sure.
All the Bieber you want. I'm a believer.
Well, Elvis said that snaps are going to be in 5.11, and I think this article's talking about how they're going to integrate them in.
The snaps are already in. What do you mean?
Snap packages are used for the universal
Snaps
binding
are
format.
already in.
I'm just trying to read the article. I'm in mid reading the article, so I don't know.
Speaking of snaps, can I ask Michael? Can I ask you about snaps? I was watching a video with Quids Up during the week, talking about the Falcon app and Snap. And he tried to download something and he couldn't select the folder, which it sort of grabbed my interest. So I downloaded something, but you cannot choose a folder, but it did download to the home folder, Snap, Falcon, and a folder called 22. Now, how much space does that have? Is that using the space, or is that confined how much you can download?
No, it's not confined of how much, it's whatever your machine can do.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like it's an ever expanding thing.
Yeah.
So it's not pre-allocated. That the code, the size of the snap is controlled by the code inside of it, but the snap mount point is a separate thing. So like you can store data inside that separate from the snap itself.
So not being able to choose a folder obviously is a security thing. Is that right? So it's still got to be within.
Well, I mean, it's in the sense of like when saying I can't guarantee why that's happening, but I can say that it's more than likely the fact that the snap has only existed like Falcon has only existed for a week, and it took them like 3 days to create a snap.
Yeah, sure.
So they probably just haven't had time to make that integrate well.
Sure.
So
No
like
worries.
that's what my expectation is. And Falcon is just a rename, but it also is like a lot of rebuilding that they're doing. They're like in the renaming, they're both making a new version of the browser and also joining the KDE infrastructure. So there's probably these things they just missed.
Sure.
Yeah.
No worries.
So this article is talking about a stable back end of Snap being introduced in 5.11.
Yeah. It's kind of like that's hard to say what they're referring to because they're not being specific, and those words could mean multiple things. So I don't have the ability to tell you exactly what they're doing, but I can tell you what my guess is.
What's the guess?
That the stable backend is that they're going to be releasing the features between Discover and Snap, so that you can install snaps from Discover.
That would be good.
And that's mainly because
Interesting.
they
Although
have...
I don't use Discover because it's terrible.
What?
Is it not terrible?
Yes, but what?
Okay, yeah, exactly. It's terrible.
Even
In
with
their
snaps,
logo,
I think-
there's 4 pixels on the left side.
No,
that
there's
are
like
complete-
150 wasted pixels minimum.
Wait, I'm gonna say, there's multiple reasons why Discover is terrible, but one of them is it does look terrible. Just saying.
It's because I wasn't gonna say it, but earlier I was saying, some apps use Kirigami right and some did not. Discover is one of the ones that did not. So, but the new version, the new mock-up design of Discover is really nice. Like I don't have a link, but I'll post it in the Telegram group that people want to join the Telegram group. There you go. So there's other things that it's kind of disappointing in a way that Discover design-wise needs work, but functionally it's great. Like the features it does in the back end are great. Like the updating the process to update software through Discover is super easy and super quick. You just go in, you get a notification there's an update, you click it, and you say click update, opens up Discover directly to that thing. You can see everything you want that's updating, choose stuff you don't want to choose, if you don't want something. I don't know why you do that, but you could. And then just say update all button, and then it does everything automatically, and you don't do anything. So it's just a couple buttons and you're done. So that's a lot easier than trying to explain to someone. You got a sudo apt update. And remember sudo. Oh, you got to add a password. Okay, you got to put your password. Don't worry that the password's not showing, and nothing ever shows you're making a thing. It's still getting typed in. You just have to trust that it is. Then also, you wanted to but updating is just the sources, not the packages. And you have now to sudo apt upgrade. And you're like, again, you might have to do the passwords depending on how long you took the session, or maybe it's still there. Or click a button a couple times. That's awesome.
I just appreciate you plugging the Telegram group. Rocco and I don't like to be sellouts, so we don't like to plug things too much.
No, definitely not.
But-
I don't think he was referring to our Telegram group.
Oh, well, we also have a Telegram group. And
I
some
think he was
more-
referring to his own Telegram
No, it
group.
was not.
Okay.
I would never say go to Telegram, do @Tux Digital, and
No, never.
Oh, the cup
Never.
keeps slipping out of my hand.
I mean, actually, I wasn't, but you set it up for it, so I'll do it.
Hey, KDE Plasma 5.11 will also have a built-in night color feature. I guess that's like the night light.
It's removing blue light stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool.
all I could find as far as features.
I'm using it right now, and you all look orange.
Great. That's so awesome. Why would we want to look orange?
Oompa Loompa.
Why wouldn't
Vitamin
we?
C.
I finally look like I go out into the sun.
We all got spray tans.
Well, look, Ryan. For the last okay, so we haven't covered gaming in a while, especially on Destination Linux. So what do you got?
Rocket League.
What do you got for gaming? You got any new games you're trying out or what?
Well, it's funny because I ended up in Ubuntu this week. So
What?
one of the games that I really wanted to play that you can use in other distributions, but it's such a pain to get working, it's not even worth it, is Albion Online. It works perfectly in Ubuntu, and just the way they've written the package and stuff, it's very easy to get running in Ubuntu. So Albion Online, which is an MMORPG. So I love the fact that, number one, they launched it on many platforms, including Linux, at the same time that they launched to Windows and others. And it seems like a pretty fun game right now. It's if you're into MMOs, massively multiplayer online role-playing games, then it's definitely something to check out. I'm having a little fun with that. And then I've gone a little bit retro, not too retro, and installed XCOM 2 because I wanted to finish XCOM 2 because the DLC for XCOM 2, the latest one, just released, and it's available for Linux as well. And XCOM 2 is just an incredibly awesome AAA title available for Linux, and the DLC is AAA available for Linux. So all the folks who are like, no AAA games are there on Linux, you're wrong. This is definitely one of those games that you should check out. Even if you look at it at first and go, that's not necessarily my type of game. If you're into sci-fi at all, you will love this game. You will just absolutely fall in love. Killing aliens, close-up, kill scenes, just a lot of strategy, but not overdone. A ton of fun, equipping, getting items, all of that stuff. Absolute blast of a game. So those are some games that are coming up on the channel soon.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
So
And
is
Rocket
it something?
League.
Is it something I would play?
You would look at it and go, well, the pixels on the
This one character has a little bit of a polygon effect. I don't know.
But honestly, it's one of those games. I think a lot of people who naturally would say, I don't play real-time strategy games. That's not my type
I
of
don't
game.
play real-time strategy games.
Would snub their nose at. But if you play this game, the storyline, the scenes, the action, it's all completely it's just so beautifully done. They're one of the originals, so it's definitely check it out if you get a chance to get your hands on it. Have you played it, Michael?
I thought it was a first-person shooter.
No,
I have definitely not, but I thought it was.
no, it's not a first-person shooter. It's a turn-based game. You've got a team.
I would never stub my nose
at
at it, except I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, it's a very, very cool game. You guys should definitely check it out, even if you're not typically an RTS person. And again, this is definitely, without a doubt, nobody would argue a AAA title that they released for Linux and dropped the DLC for it on Linux the same time they did Windows. I love companies that do that because they're really helping pave the way for other companies to do that as well.
It looks like RoboCop to me when you look at some of the characters in there, the way they're dressed, the suits and stuff, and the other things.
Yeah.
I think we should give credit to the people who actually did this, because the company who made XCOM could not care less about Linux.
So who actually did it?
They made a partnership with Feral Interactive, and Feral Interactive made the port and did the time to make it.
Feral's awesome, dude.
Yeah, they ported it to Linux, and they made sure it was a day one release.
And they must have done it with the DLC then, too, which is super cool.
Yes, they did. They're also the same people who did Witcher. It's Witcher 2. They're the same people who did the F1 series stuff. They did Hitman games. Pretty much all the big AAA titles that are on Linux are thanks to Feral.
But still, I mean, Feral
Warhammer.
goes after a lot of companies that will be like, I'm not interested. We're not going to do it. So
I just wanted to be like, give the credit to the people who did it rather than the people who were like making a game.
Yeah,
It's like,
definitely.
it is good that these companies are willing to make the partnership with Feral.
Yep.
But I just want to be like, Feral is doing really cool stuff. That's all.
Yeah,
So
they are awesome people.
just give them. I just wanted to make sure that they stuff like Dirt, also from Feral.
Yeah.
Like, all kinds of stuff is really good.
It's interesting because if you go to the page, it actually says developer for Axis, but then Feral Active for Mac, Feral Interactive for Linux, and then publisher is 2K, and then it says Feral Interactive for Mac, Feral Interactive for Linux. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So they actually give them props too within the publisher section and developer section of the actual Steam page, which is neat.
Oh yeah, it's totally good. I mean, I'm just Feral does a lot of stuff, and every time there's a game that comes out that's Feral, I always make sure on my show to point out that it's Feral making it, because they do a lot of good stuff, and they're also like really into the the Vulkan support for games now. So like Warhammer 30,000 has full Vulkan support, and it's very cool that they're on the forefront of Linux development for games and also on the forefront of Vulkan. So that's awesome.
Ballistic Overkill is another game if you want to check out Vulkan within Linux that uses Vulkan, which is a first-person shooter.
Awesome. Well, we covered Feral Interactive a couple times on Destination Linux, and they're the same people who gave out their whole Linux library to developers that wrote code or put in 5 commits for I forget what it was. It's escaping me at the moment, but one of the back ends for the gaming. So they do some awesome work. Other than just they're a game company. They do awesome work for Linux.
They also did a keynote. One of the main developers of Feral did a keynote talking about the benefits of Vulkan and how they utilize it, and it's a really interesting keynote.
Where's that at?
I don't have a link.
Well, why are you bringing up this stuff?
Because I remember things that happen. I don't have bookmarks and everything. But I can get a link because I do have it stored somewhere. I just don't remember where.
Yeah,
but it's
I'd like to watch it.
It's the Kronos group had a Vulkan conference like a month and a half ago or so, and Feral talked about their involvement in Vulkan, and it was to convince other developers to join the Vulkan, community and use the API. Which, I mean, it's a very interesting conversation because they also talk about how they give examples of all the different games that they're using it on and how what they had to overcome to make sure that the games were compatible both with Vulkan and with the OpenGL stuff. So it's a really cool thing, and it's also like. It's not like they have to overcome a problem because of OpenGL or whatever. I mean, Kronos makes both of them, so it's just interesting. It's definitely a technical conference and a technical keynote. But if you care anything about like the fundamentals of how the games are working, then it's definitely interesting.
One game I also wanted to really mention this week and make sure people try to get out there and support, because first of all, the game looks absolutely incredible. You can go check it out on Twitch or YouTube videos out there of people playing it. It's more of a it's a top-down, I don't want to say scary game, but it's kind of one of those games that's meant to build that suspense and scare. It's called Darkwood, and the developers out there, they did something really interesting, Acid Wizard Studio, and that is, number one, they released it for Linux right away as well, and it's a very, very popular game, extremely well received on Steam since its release. But additionally, he released it out there on a torrent on Pirate Bay and said, if you can't afford the game, I still want you to be able to play it, which I thought was such a cool move on his part. A very scary move for him, possibly, because a lot of people may not go by and buy it. But those type of moves like that make me want to go get the game, even and try it out and give it a look, even if it's not the type of game that I normally play. But if you look on Steam right now, the feedback of 1,400 reviews is overwhelmingly positive, and that shows that he's done a fantastic job developing the game and truly just wants to get as many people as he can out there to play his game, which is so cool.
Now, Ryan, that's a minimum, it says, of Ubuntu 12.04. Will that run on 16.04 as an example, or something higher? Because I've had some games that say a minimum 12.04 and they still won't run on 16.04.
Yeah, minimums generally means that you have to have at least 12.04 or later.
Or higher. Yeah, that's what you would think.
Yeah, but I've not run into that issue, but I'm sure there are certain games that they port it poorly, and so they may list that and it doesn't end up working. In this case, if you look through the comments, you can see that people are not having any issues getting this to run in Linux, and it's got the overwhelming majority on the forums and the comments are so positive from the Linux community, which I love to see, because every time you leave those type of comments within these forums, that's also a potential person that would switch to Linux when they see how kind the community is, versus people going in there and flaming it and bashing it because some little thing didn't work right or whatever.
There was some issues where, like, there are sometimes where games where they don't. I mean, there's some people who bash it, but there's sometimes there are games that they announced Linux support, but they didn't really test it that well. And when it comes out, like Spacebound happened to them, they came out and said, it comes out for Linux, and everybody like goes and uses it, and it's broken, like completely.
Right.
And then they were like, and they go on the forums and tell them, and they're like, "Oh, sorry." And then like a week later, they fix it. Like within a week, actually, it's probably less than a week, but they fixed it really quickly. And that's even better because it shows that the community is paying attention when a game's release and are testing it for you, and you can go in and check to see if the one on the forums if it is got good support or not. So that's pretty cool too. There is one issue with Darkwood in the sense of the Pirate Bay thing they did is only Windows.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It's when they only allow the Windows to be on Pirate Bay, not the Linux version.
I'm sure someone in Linux has found a workaround.
With wine, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's really cool that they're doing it. It's kind of interesting that they did it because the reason they gave is that people had played the game. Like a couple people had like tried to get the game, but it was in like beta, and there's the rule about how long Steam allows you to get a refund, and it was at the point where they had to get a refund, so they just did it, and the game hadn't been released yet, and they were like, well, to make up for that kind of situation, you can just play the game. Here you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So like that's a really good thing. That instead of trying to get try to get as much money as possible, they're trying to get as much players as possible, which eventually will turn into money. Especially with like the idea that most gamers are happy to give them money for the game they play and that they like.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing. If you end up getting it on a torrent or download and playing it and enjoying it, and you're capable, you have the money, you probably spend more on that on a movie to support it, really go out there and buy that game. I think it's important to support anybody who's supporting Linux on day one releases. Now, if you get it and you don't like it and you only play it for 30 minutes, fine. But if you end up playing it for a long time and you've got your money's worth, go buy it. Support these individuals that spend years and years and years, especially small studios like this, that they're taking a huge risk doing this, right? I mean, they don't have tons of money like Blizzard does to sit on and just lose. So it matters. They're trying to do this for a living, and it's a big deal. All the art and music and everything that goes into these games. So definitely recommend, if you feel like you got your money's worth, buy it.
Absolutely. There's
I'm gonna have to put it on my wish list.
There's a game that came out. It's on Linux. It came out a couple years ago, but the release for Linux was a few months ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it's called Outland. It's a platformer, and it's got a unique idea that you have like special elemental powers and stuff. And you in the beginning, all the enemies don't have any powers, but eventually, when you build your powers, the other enemy has powers too. But like they are a part of an element. Like they don't have like the same kind of power they can switch back and forth. They just have this particular element, and you have to make sure that when you attack them, you're on the opposite element. So you have to. It's like a constant like switching to like randomly find like enemies that are. And there are times that there's multiples of the same like enemy that have different elements. You have to switch back and forth. So it's like a puzzle platformer combination thing. And what's really cool about it is that, I mean, unfortunately they did it for only one day, but so I can't like tell you to go do it or whatever, but they did it where they released the game for free. You just download the game and it's for free forever. And you can have it for free, play the whole game. It's unlimited. It's not like a trial or anything. It's just you have this game, and as long as you download that day, that you got it. But the game is so good that I went and bought it after the fact.
Wow!
Because it's like it's such a fun platformer that I expected to be terrible, just because a random indie guy is dropping a game for free. I'm going to get it because it's free, but it's probably not that good. And it turns out it's a fantastic game. If you like platformers, it's a fantastic game.
Yep.
I mean, it's only $10, so
it looks super cool. I'm watching the videos on it now.
Yeah,
definitely.
And what's this game called?
Outland.
Outland.
So when they're talking for an OS and they're just giving kernel releases, we're assuming that's Linux only or both, or
what do you mean?
Well, if you look down in there, scroll down. I always scroll down and see, which games. Oh, I see. Wait a minute. It is Linux because I'm under the Linux heading. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
in OS, instead of saying Ubuntu or something else, it says kernel 2.6.32 and recommended kernel 3.12. So it's just another way of basically saying, hey, instead of saying you have to have Ubuntu, which a lot of them put in there.
Specific. I like that.
They're kind of basically saying any distro that has these kernel versions.
These kernels, okay.
Yeah,
basically literally anything at this point because 3.12 is so, like anything.
I see we have it for Windows, Mac, and Steam OS and Linux all, but it just that I always wondered about that, if that was why they would put a kernel release, but I guess that makes sense.
Well, it's also if they make the game, like if their goal is to make the game work on as many distros as possible and not just like Ubuntu version, because some people actually like make their game only for Ubuntu. Right. So if they show the kernel, it's more than likely it's like hopefully works everywhere. I mean, they might have tested it everywhere, but it's a cool.
Interesting to see if it works on Solus. Solus.
It probably would.
Yeah.
Solus is so hot right now.
Solus is so hot right now. That's like a Zoolander reference. I love it. So I've got to go. I've got some folks coming up to actually stay with us from Florida that are trying to get rid of the hurricane. So I've got to go be a nice host. But thanks for having me back on, Rocco, and everyone. It's been a blast.
If they want to join, that's all. Welcome.
Yeah, we'll get them on there too.
Hey, I'll have to start brushing up a little bit and see if I can qualify to get in. Maybe eventually.
Well, we are pro leagues. It's taken us a long time to get there, but
because
Michael, we know you so well, we'll play.
Michael
with you
doesn't even want to play with us.
Say we'll have to wait about a year.
They put me to shame. I can't.
Michael doesn't even want to play with us anymore. That's all I'm saying.
He can't take the heat.
Yeah, I can't hang.
We're so hot right now.
We're so hot right now.
See you guys.
Rocket League is so hot right now.
Right.
There's actually a new update for Rocket League coming.
Where for what? What's it going to do?
New season, and they're going to reset ranks. A soft reset rank, and the season rewards were announced, and they're bringing transparent goal posts. Because one of the most annoying things that you look through the goal and you can't see where the ball is. Now you can be able to do that regardless of the map. They're changing the way Starbase Arc is built. They're changing the way Wasteland is built, and they're going to be like regular classic maps instead of the weirdness.
Nice.
So I actually like Starbase Arc because it's weird and it makes everybody hate it. And it makes me laugh because it's like I'll just adjust to it, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people are like hate it because it's different, and it's like that makes me enjoy it more because it makes you frustrated. It makes it easy for me. That's why I like that. But now they're going to make it normal, and it's like. Now it's just everybody. But
when's this supposed to hit?
We don't know. They just announced it's happening. They haven't announced when. And it'll probably be either the end of this month or the beginning of next month, more than likely.
So is this a free thing or is this a DLC?
Yeah. It's free.
Okay.
Anytime it's like a game update, it's always free. Like they rarely charge for things like that. But the rewards are lame. Like super lame.
Yeah, but what could you give as a reward that would be good that you didn't have to actually pay extra for?
The first season, boosts.
Yeah, but you more or less need boost in order to play.
No. Cool style boosts.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So the second season was the topper. No one really cared.
Right.
Third season was what I got. Oh, wheels. Wheels. The fourth season was the new trail system. So people expected the fifth season to be a goal explosion because they introduced goal explosions with the beginning of the season 5. And no. That would be better. That little fake explosion thing would have been better than what they chose to give us, which is little badges.
They chose to give you what?
A badge next to your name. That's it.
Great.
Yeah, you can see the badge on the main menu and during the replays of goals. Like, who cares?
Wow.
So
I don't think I've noticed.
Well, it's not out yet. You won't see the badge until like the season fully ends. So yay. But it's a good, it's a good update.
Yeah, I did see that, Zeb. There's 12 hours left on The Walking Dead Season 1 on the Humble Bundle.
But isn't that Windows only?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's a Telltale game, right?
No, that's the first season, ain't it?
Oh, the show or the
Yeah, that's
book
the show. Season 1
of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only season that was good, but there's only like 6 episodes.
I don't think I've ever watched it, so.
The first season was good. The second season was mind-numbingly awful. So it's like, hey, this first season is like it's super impactful, and all this stuff is happening. It's like, it's just crazy. Whoa. Season 2 is like, we're on a farm the whole time. Every episode. It's super boring. There are no zombies. It's like, hey, you know your show's about zombies, right? You might want to have some zombies in your show. Oh, don't worry. The last 10 minutes of the last episode of the season will have zombies. Great.
No, I don't think I've ever watched it, so I guess it's there if people want it, but I think Tomb Raider right now is the big thing on the Humble Bundle for, I think it's $12.
Yeah. Tomb Raider's awesome.
So you still making Minecraft stuff there, Alan?
Yeah, still wasting my life, burning my time. It's what else can I do, right?
You could play Rocket League, dude. I'm just saying.
I guess that's an option, but I mean, like, who doesn't want to be a cute giraffe running through the plains of Africa eating
This is
fruits?
true. You got a point.
It's a hard decision. Yeah.
But I mean, you could do
Have to
both.
worry about having a great graphics card for it either.
You could do both. You could do a little bit of Giraffe,
I'll have,
a little
like-
bit of Rocket League.
I'll have to hook up like 2 mice and like 2 keyboards to my computer and have to separate them somehow. See if I can manage that. I probably can't, but I'm sure it's possible one way or another. Maybe I can assign a specific device to be captured for input in a certain application. I'm not sure.
You can.
Kirby in the chat says he wants to talk about Gen 2. It's too bad Jonas isn't here.
I like Gen 2. Well, I used to use Gen 2. It's not been a very long time.
Gen 2's fun.
I don't even, never. No, I don't think, no. Hold on.
I don't have the time for Gen 2.
Yeah, that's why I don't use it.
Exactly.
Like, I like it, but, eh.
Chip,
It's also
you're a huge Weather Channel fan. What the heck is that, Chip?
There's also like a bunch of issues with Gen 2 these days. A lot of maintainers are dropping off. Or
boredom to death, or is?
Oh no, it's they lost a few maintainers. They just left the project, but they also to compensate. Some of the maintainers that were maintaining certain applications have abandoned those applications, and they're just old. So in order to like solve the problem, they drop those to pick up other ones, and ones so they could have more. So they didn't have time to pick up the old ones, the other ones that are more important. So there's unfortunately there's a batch of things that are not updated, and one of them is my application, and they're mean.
Darn it.
I mean, I don't have any kind of issue with that.
No, definitely not.
I don't have any issue with they require a maintainer to update it, and I can't touch it. It's not
ridiculous.
But
going
is the Tomb Raider, is that the old one from 2013 that they released?
Which one? The one on Humble Bundle?
Rise of the Tomb Raider, is that from the one that was released like a few months ago or so? Not a few months ago, it was like 8 months ago or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember. But it says time is running out in 27 days.
Really. Oh, you mean in the Humble Bundle?
Yeah. It's just like their monthly version.
Yeah.
Time is running out. Like,
I think it's October 6th is the day it runs out, something like that.
I have to look it up now. Oh, is that? Wait, is that not the? Now I have to. Now I'm confused.
A
No way.
quick mention. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you continue. I'm just reacting on
Oh,
in
okay.
my way. You know.
The whole thing about Manjaro and the rolling releasing. I mean, I've had a Manjaro instance, Manjaro KDE instance up since 17 dropped, and it's been running fine. There's been no issues whatsoever. So, I mean, typically speaking, you're probably fine. And this was at like the beginning of the conversation, but like I haven't had any issues. So, I mean,
Well, I installed it, and it was the first time in a long time that I used a KDE desktop that didn't crash one time on me. And I used it for about 2 hours. Whoa. Earthquake. I used it for
Sorry.
about 2 hours.
I accidentally kicked my desk.
And, I mean, I went in and out of the settings. I went and changed panels. I installed Latte Dock. I did all this stuff to it. And nothing happened. I was, like, shocked. It was pretty awesome. Yeah. And like I said, it kind of, like, makes me want to install KDE again.
I just noticed there's another release for Zorin come out, yeah.
Nice.
No, I didn't even see that.
Oh.
What's the new stuff? The new hotness?
Yeah, what is it?
It has a desktop environment familiar to people from the Microsoft Windows platform.
Well, that's the same thing they already had. So, like, it's our most advanced operating system ever.
It's like an infomercial.
Zorin OS 12.2, released on September 8th, 2017.
You gotta do it like Billy Mays. You gotta sell it like a sham wow.
Yeah, sham wow, baby.
Hi, it's Vince from Slapshot.
It's been up.
I love that one.
So Zorin is a Ron Popeil. Set it and forget it.
It's been upgraded with speed and stability.
Ronco.
This is late night infomercial hour.
Yeah, infomercial for Zorin. Like it looks like
So
like
what is this?
It looks like improvement stuff, not like a ton of differences. This is like, you know, improving, updating the kernel, improving performance for things, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'd share my screen and like scroll through it and stuff, but Wayland.
Yeah, well,
there you go.
Goofy things happen when you share your screens anyway. I did that earlier, and just stupid stuff was happening with it. But this looks like it's 12.2, so you're right. It's just a point release.
Yeah. But it looks like they did some interesting things.
I quite like point releases because they kind of usually just iron out any problems that you have with like the initial release. Kind of gives you a more clean, smooth experience.
Yep. So I have some unfortunate news to.
Well, wait before you start, Chip. You're right. It absolutely looks beautiful. No question about it. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. I read what he said, and moving on.
Yes.
So,
anyway, important news.
I think I don't really like the way that Manjaro does that, but so the important news is the Walking Dead thing on Humble Bundle free is a game. It was the first game, I think, that was released like 2 years ago. So it's Windows only. The other thing is that Rise of the Tomb Raider, available in the Humble Bundle, is only.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Unfortunately,
I need my violin.
Steam says that it's Windows only, and Humble Bundle doesn't say at all what it's for. So, since they only have a reference to which one it is, it appears that it is totally Windows.
Well, it appears my internet is going goofy, and the stream is now going goofy. Yep. So,
yeah, you're real choppy and laggy right now, Rock.
All right. So everybody get a last word in before we end this stream.
Are you gonna end it? Wow, dude.
Yeah. Well,
Rude.
it's 12. I mean, it's my internet's going. This is the second time it's going goofy now. So everybody get a last word in before they go.
Internet's not my fault this time.
Great, Colin. That's awesome.
That
Joe?
is a very apt response.
Joe, what's your last word, man?
Rocket League. Yeah.
There you go. Michael?
So my last words are multiple.
No, just one. Last words. One set.
What's new?
One word. Tux
One
Digital.
set. Tux Digital.
Tux Digital. That is a one word. It's not a combination. Technically, the brand.
Technically. All right, we'll run with that.
But so
yes,
tuxdigital.com news show on Sunday. Be sure to there's a live stream on Sunday. You could totally come out and come out and support your neighborhood Linux channel, whatever. I don't know what I'm saying.
Discord, baby.
Yeah, it's a Discord. You can join if you want to and be a part of the conversation. Also,
talk for an extra hour.
Yes, I'm going to try to knock it down. Instead of 4 hours of a stream, it'll be a 2-hour stream.
Nice.
Maybe. I can't guarantee that.
No, you won't. You won't make it. You'll try for that, but it'll be a 4-hour stream.
It'll probably be a 4-hour stream. I'll be super hungry and I have to go. But
actually, is what it was.
People said things that are making me want to say things. So
then if I had to tell them to quit reading the side chat.
That did happen. I actually had to disconnect from Discord. I had to purposefully hide the chat so that I could just close the OBS thing. And then I even went back into the chat and started responding.
Yeah.
But at least the stream was done. That's all that matters. So,
all right. So there you go. Last words. All right. Thanks for everybody showing up, and maybe we'll see you next week. And like I said, before we go, last word, my last word is next week we are going to use Zoom. We're not going to use the appear in. Hopefully the connections are better with Zoom. So, but you have to have Zoom installed, and everybody who normally joins is more than welcome to join with Zoom. But that's what we're going to use, and we're going to test it out and see how it works.
Sounds good.
So instead of sounding like Mickey Mouse, I'll be sounding like Donald Duck or something like that.
Let's hope not. Let's hope it's better, dude.
Switch it up.
Let's hope it's better. And Chip's last word is Manjaro. So there you
Manjaro.
Nice. KDE.
That one.
See ya.
Solus.